Hi there, I'm Natasha. This is my channel, Always Be Crafting. And today is Saturday, the first Saturday of October, October 4th. Let me just start by saying that today is actually the anniversary of my father's passing. So I am trying to be extra creative today because that is something that he really responded to. I talk a lot on this channel about my mother and her influence on me, but I don't bring up my dad a lot. And just because my dad wasn't a quilter and my mom was. My mom made clothes, my mom made quilts, my mom would sew anything for anybody. But my dad loved to build anything for anybody. He was incredibly creative. We called him the cement man because he loved to, have his cement mixer out there. And if he could pour a sidewalk for anything, cover up those dang weeds, he was in heaven. He never was afraid of hard work and he loved creativity. And well, I grew up on a farm, so we had lots and lots of space. So I didn't know that my dad was probably a hoarder. Like I didn't realize because it was all sort of spread out, but the man never threw anything away. I mean, never. We had all the boards from every repair done on the barn, and we had cans and cans of rusty nails and good nails, separated the rusty from the good. So he was incredibly organized. Well, I think because he had OCD. So, and I don't mean to laugh after that because OCD is a very serious mental condition that people should not joke about. And it can be very useful and it can also be very detrimental. It can get in the way of living your life. And for my dad, he found coping mechanisms through this to try to keep living a good life for as long as he could. And honestly, until he lost my mom, he was doing pretty good at it. There was definitely a decline after my mom passed away. And that was really hard for all of us. It was hard for my brother and I and the grandkids and everyone who loved him. It was hard to see. But he kept trying most days. Not every day, but most days he kept trying. But he was always incredibly creative. And while we were expected to get the best grades we could get, it was actually more important for my brother and I to find creative ways to reuse and make things. And I guess we would get more praise heaped upon us after we had done something creative versus I got an A on a test. Good for you. Good for you. That's expected. But, oh, you made something that wasn't in existence before? Awesome. Like that's really when we got the most praise showered upon us. So now you know a little bit about my baggage. I am finding creative ways to use things in my home right now. And I had a request from some people watching my YouTube where I guess it was the beginning of September, and I had made a number of book bags and I didn't grab one. So I'm going to pause you and be right back. Okay, I'm back. So I believe the ones I made in that video actually sold at the market I did. I got very lucky and sold a couple of items at the market, but I had made more of the book bags. And here's an example of one. So it is, get in frame, a large rectangular bag with a zipper on the skinny side. Fabric. This is a cotton linen canvas on the outside. This one is a Coca canvas. This is a Ruby Star canvas. This is another Coca canvas, and this is a Joann's canvas. I'm not sure if it glows in the dark or not. This pocket is shorter because of just the way I had to cut the fabric. But I got some feedback that people loved the idea, but they would love a little bit more of a tutorial. Maybe talking about how I do the quilting, talking about how I do the lining, how I do box the corners, etc., etc. So some of the feedback I got at the market was, while this is great for books, actual real books, people wanted something for their Kindle. So I was like, well, that's not a bad idea. And this is quite large. I'm going to reach behind you and grab my Kindle. So you can see it is really quite large for a Kindle. This is, which one is this? Whether you have a Kindle, a Nook, any kind of e-reader, this is, oh, it's waking up. I woke it up. What is this? Does it say which kind it is? Paperwhite? Can you tell which kind that is? Anyways, that's what we have. That's the one we have. My husband and I have this one. We share it because we don't really need to have two e-readers in our house when we can have one. And he had purchased the Kindle. And I was like, as long as I can listen to audiobooks, I'm good with it. I don't need to purchase a second device, because I was looking at the Barnes & Noble Nook. He's like, oh, I already have a Kindle. I'm like, whatever, it's fine. How did I make these? Quickly, I used an acrylic template, but it's not an acrylic template designed specifically for book bags. It's actually from So Hungry Hippie. You've been on my channel before. If you're new, welcome. If you've been here before, welcome back. I often shop at So Hungry Hippie, in addition to shopping at local quilt stores whenever I can and supporting my excellent friend Tava Singer out at Cali Quilt Co. in California. The other shop I shop from most frequently online is So Hungry Hippie out of Wisconsin. And one of the things I purchased for them, because I'm a VIP shopper, I have like a membership, like a yearly membership with them. Totally worth it. If you're looking at shopping from So Hungry Hippie, buy the VIP. It pays for itself in like 2 orders. At least for me it did. Because you get like discounts on everything. Anyways, one day the VIPs got free shipping. And I was like, oh my gosh, free shipping. That's amazing. Because that's like usually the most expensive part, is the shipping part. And I wanted these acrylic templates, and that's like the most expensive thing to ship. So when it was free shipping day and it applied to everything, I took advantage of it and I bought a set of, what are they called? They're called the, oh, you can't read it very well probably. Yeah, there's a glare. It's called the Easy Zipper Case. And it's a set of 3, small, medium, and large. So what I have done, because her intention was, so here's a big piece of acrylic. You can see it still has paper on one side. A big piece of acrylic, an easy zipper case, you have the zipper on this side. And I just looked at that and I said, well, what if I switched it and put the zipper on this side? I just was trying something out. So when I did that using size large, I created this bag. I boxed the corner on the bottom only. Sorry, my focus is weird today. I must have done something weird to my camera. But I boxed just the bottom corners. And because the zipper is at the top, the zipper kind of creates a bit of a box at the top. And why don't I have a book down here? I have so many books. I will find a book. Let me find a book. I'm going to put it in so you can see what a book looks like inside the bag. Please pause again. Okay, I'm back. I just went over to my bookshelf that's also behind you, where I have a lot of photo albums, not books, and I have a lot of textbooks, which, yeah, I know textbooks are books, but they're not the right book size. But luckily, among them was Wuthering Heights. So I think this is pretty typical paperback, but it's a chunky one. It's a big chunky paperback, pretty typical size. So you can see it fits in the bag with room to spare, and that's what this was designed for, or that was my intention of these pouches, right? Was for something like that, where if you just threw Wuthering Heights in your bag, you're going to get your corners all nicked up, you're going to get it all beat up, but here you have something that you can keep it safe, and you could probably do a little bit bigger book too, and you have a front pocket, so if you have like little notes or something, here I have like a little notepad, stick that in there with pencils, pens, you have everything convenient for yourself. So that was the intention behind these. So Kindle, well, if I use the large easy zipper case for that, why not use the medium? So here's the large, here's the medium, okay? And I'll find the measurements, like I'll put it on my table and tell you what the measurements are. So you can do this, but make life easy with an acrylic ruler, an easy zipper case. That'll give me, even with sewing seam allowance, I'll have plenty of room for my Kindle. So that's what I'm going to do today. Use the medium zipper, easy zipper case, acrylic, excuse me, losing my words. And I recently posted a video, like 2 days ago, posted a video of my September shop hopping. So here in Connecticut, in all New England, there is what's going on is a shop hop. Now, a lot of states do this. Like there's the Texas shop hop or the Ohio shop hop. Now, if you're in a place that has a million quilt stores, that's easy to do. But when you're in a teeny tiny state like Connecticut, you have to join forces with other states. So that's what they did. And it's the all New England shop hop. And there's like 83 stores. I think there's 83 stores. And anyways, I have not done 83 stores. I think I've done 13 stores. And I'm probably only going to do maybe 5 more, 4 more, something like that, because I'm only really trying to get the state of Connecticut. Plus, if I get a little bit of Massachusetts, which I did, I went to Massachusetts, I went to Rhode Island. So I got a little bit just outside my Connecticut borders based on convenience and ease and stores I'd been to in the past that I wanted to go to because I really liked them, or stores I hadn't been to that I really wanted to try, that kind of thing. Anyways, on those shop hops, I found 2 fabrics that I'm going to use today. So if you saw that video posted 2 days ago, so right now it is October 4th. So I believe I posted it on October 2nd. That's what I believe. You will have seen I had picked up this adorable cotton with the little mushrooms. It is Heather Ross fabric, and the line is Far, Far Away 3. So I don't know enough about, I know I've purchased other Heather Ross fabric, but I just don't know enough about all her fabric to know if there was a Far, Far Away and a Far, Far Away 2. Maybe there was, but this is Far, Far Away 3. And it's yellow with these adorable mushrooms. And I think because that's going to match this canvas that I picked up at Kate's So Modern here in Connecticut, and it is this Coca canvas that is, at first I was like, oh, it's a little childish, and then I'm like, no, it's actually just very storybook. It just reminds me of, you know, storybooks. And the only word on here is mustaharuka. And I don't know what that means, so I'm going to have to look it up, and I'll write it on the screen if I find out what it means. Mustaharuka, but I wonder if it's like actually like a story, because there's bears and ducks and rabbits, and it's just really, and owls, just really, really cute fabric. And I'm like, looks like a storybook, and a Kindle holds all your stories. So it felt like, why not? So you're going to watch me cut out. I'm going to cut out 3 of each. I need to make, if I'm going to do this with the pocket and everything, I need 3 of canvas and 3 of cotton. And my batting today is going to be slightly different on the other video in September. My batting for these, all of these were done with high loft batting. High loft is just very thick polyester, not thick, it's fluffy. It's like very fluffy polyester. I don't want to say thick because you can compress it, and thick it is thick to look at, but when you press it, it goes, whoop, you know, you can squish it. It's very squishable. Polyester batting, which I had left over from a quilt, because that's how I make things, is leftover from quilts. And today my leftover quilt batting is actually cotton. So it's a little thinner. It's obviously a lot thinner. Doesn't have the same squish. It's soft, but doesn't have the same squish. So I think it's still going to be really lovely when it's all put together, but it's going to be different than these, because these are very squishy, 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 as you can see, because of that high loft batting. But I just don't buy high loft batting. Like, I had it for that one very specific quilt. So that's what's going to be the biggest difference between these and the Kindle case I make today, will be the size and the batting. Everything else is the same. I'm using my Pfaff Quilt Expression 720. It has IDT, which is basically a built-in walking foot. Anytime you're doing quilting, you want to use a walking foot, because a walking foot keeps your top layer of fabric moving at the same speed as your bottom layer of fabric. So they move together. Sometimes, if you don't have a walking foot, sometimes your bottom layer will move slightly faster than your top layer. And then you'll get puckering, and that's just not pretty. So I'm using my Pfaff because it has the built-in walking foot, IDT. And I will start by cutting. So I'll turn you around. You'll watch me cut. And then you'll watch me quilt the canvas to the batting. And then you'll watch me add a zipper and put it all together. So I'll talk when I think I need to talk. Otherwise, I think there's going to be enjoyable music. So please do enjoy. Okay, now that I have all my components, or I should say all the bag pieces cut, it's time to do the zipper. I had said earlier that I would include the measurements of the medium zipper case. I don't think I'm giving anything away when I tell you that it is 10 by 8 and it looks like 8 1/4. 10 by 8 1/4 is the template size. Let's find a zipper tape that's 1 inch shorter. So instead of 8 1/4, we need 7 1/4. I'm just going to use 7. So let me find some zipper tape. Okay, so when I cut zipper tape and I have just a little bit left that's too small to roll, I leave a lot of pieces. Now I know these are going to be too short. I'm looking for something about 7 inches. I'm hoping for this one because I think this will match best. So let's see. Ooh, that one is 8 1/2 inches. So I could trim this one down. Do I think black's going to match? No. Do I think this one will match? No, not really. Wait. No, I think I'm going to go for the creamy colored with the bronze teeth. I think that's going to look the nicest, and I definitely have enough. So I have too much. I have 8 1/2, so I need to trim off 1.5 inches because I need 7 inches. And just to give you an idea of the measurement of the Kindle is 5 1/2 wide by 6 1/2 tall. So 5 1/2 wide will easily fit into a 7-inch zipper opening. Plus that 7-inch opening kind of, opens up a bit bigger. So cut the tape. And now the excess fabric from when I was trimming my insides will now become the exterior. So I'm going to trim this into a couple of pieces. Let's just do it the easy way. We're just going to, oh wait, do we care about it being, hold on, I had to think this through. Do I care about it being that way or that way? No, I want it to be this way. Okay. So sorry, I had to think that through for a second. I want 4 pieces, 2 and 4, because I want them longer than, so the zipper will then extend on each side. So we're going to find a zipper pull for the zipper tape, and then we're going to add the ends on each side, making the whole thing longer than necessary. All right, put the light back over here at the sewing machine. Zipper tape. This is how I like to put my zippers on. If you have a zipper jig, go for it. But I'm looking at my teeth. I see that my right tooth is slightly higher than my left tooth, which means I'm going to put my zipper on my right side and then on my left side. And I'm going to feel for the click. So I'm going to just feel the click. Did you hear that? Push it on. Move it to the middle. Okay. Now, zipper ends at either side. All right, so now I have my zippers. Now you'll notice I did not I did not sew over this end because I just don't like the look. That's really all it comes down to. And I don't find that there's enough pull on the zipper tabs here to warrant needing the extra stitch. So, do what's right for you. I'm going to fold it in half to find my center point. And sometimes I have to unzip to get a little bit more flexibility in the zipper tape. Just lining up my zipper tabs together. And then I can pinch where my halfway point is, and I just take a little pencil and draw in right there on the edge. So they're right at the very edge of the zipper tape. You know it's going to be caught in the seam allowance. I mark my center point. I do it again for the other side. I do not clip into my zippers. This kind of zipper you can. It's a non-woven, so it's very secure. But other kinds of like the striped zippers are woven, and if you clip into those, you get a hot mess. So things will fray and break, and so I just think it's a good habit not to cut into your zipper tape. My front pocket, it might be a little crooked because I did not use a measuring tape or any kind of ruler to line it up, but it's still cute. My front pocket, I will fold in half. Now on my pockets, I actually snip, because this is all quilted together and incredibly secure. So that has a little snip. And the reason I snip is in that way, make sure my zipper is going the way I want it to go. That way, I can turn my pocket, my front panel over, line up that mark I just made in my zipper tape, centered with the V that I just snipped, and then pin into place. All right, something I want you to notice is that when I'm basting my zipper to the top of my, or the front panel, and I'll do this again with my back panel, I keep my zipper lined up to the edge and I'm sewing just along that edge because this is just a basting stitch. I did switch to my zipper foot so that I didn't need to yet. I could have used a regular foot for basting, but I switched to my zipper foot for this because I'm gonna need it in a minute anyways when I add my lining. And for these, I sew all the way off the edge. That's why I have the zipper tabs so big. The zipper tabs extend off the fabric because I sew all the way to the edge. Oh, sorry, out of frame. Sew all the way to the edge. All right, lining goes right on top. Move my zipper pull. Lining goes right on top. You can pin it if you want to, or you can just lay it down and hold it steady. Your choice, whatever you like. And then I'm going to be using my fingers to feel along the way, so I know I'm going to block. I'm blocking the camera because I'm feeling along the zipper tape. That's the only way I can get this even. So that's how I do it. I'm sorry. Maybe, you know what? Let me try to move the camera so you can see. All right, off camera, I sewed on the other side. Don't know why I didn't turn the camera on, but I sewed on the other front, and now I'm about to sew on the second lining. So I think that's what most people are interested in anyways, trying another camera angle. Hopefully you guys are just seeing everything you need to see. That's my hope. Make sure my stitch length is back because I had increased it for my top stitching and I left it there for my basting of my front panel. But now this is a construction seam. Construction seams are smaller. Okay, so now I'm going to finish the bag by boxing the corners down here at either end and down here. So some people box after sewing the seams. I just like to draw in my boxes or cut my boxes now. So let's show you. All right, so inside out here. And you can see my zipper is not perfect. It's a little squee with, as they say, but that's okay. Who cares? At the end of the day, it's still going to be a perfectly usable bag. All right, so sorry if I knocked you at all. You're right next to me. I am going to do, I've got two little tools that I use. I use this one from Creative Grids. It's an 1.5 inch square. And I use this from Dritz, which has different markings all the way around. But it itself is 2 inches square. Okay. So I think a boxed corner of 5/8 is, gosh, is that going to be too small? Well, 1 inch is too big. 1/2 inch, which is just, a little bit smaller than 5/8, is definitely too small. Do I want 5/8 or do I want 6/8? 3/4. Do I want a 3/4 inch? I think I want a 3/4, so I'm going to use this. All right, so I'm coming in here, come in with this ruler, and where's my pencil? That's right next to me. All right. So I come down to the corner and I find 3/4 here, 3/4 there. Which, because 3/4 is 1/2 of 1.5 inches, it's this white line. I should point that out. Can you see that? Okay. So I find my wet line and I draw it. Okay. So I'm going to draw all 4 corners and then I'm going to cut all 4 corners. Okay. Now it's time to sew everything together. So right sides together, wrong side, insides and outsides are all right sides together. Because I've got this little extra, I line up my outsides and I sort of tuck that little bit in. Just tuck it in like that. Can you see? Can you see how that tucks in like that? That's going to give me that little extra wiggle room to open up my top. Make sure you got a good angle of that. Okay. So pins or clips, whatever is convenient. I kind of use a mixture of both. So that's what we're gonna do now. All right, so now we trim off these tabs because they're no longer necessary. And we are going to box the bottoms before we turn it inside out. So to box the bottoms, you see that I had sewn them, like I turned it at each angle. So now you see they're already connected. So all I have to do is bloopity bloop, like that. On the bottom lining, I'm going to open up the seams so I can train the bottom. Let me pin that in place. All right, so open them up, butterfly the ends like that. So the seam is right on top of itself. And then go ahead and pin those open like that. Okay, so that's what I'll do for the lining. See, again, they're connected already. Can you see that? Because the way I'd sewn them, I didn't like pick up my foot and move it. I turned my fabric really tight. So that way they're already connected for me. And I back stitched, or I did a lock stitch at each end. So they're really nice and secure, even as I'm pulling on the fabric to get it all in place for myself. That is secure. Okay, rewind, pause. I haven't done this in a while. I had to think about it for a second. On this, I also butterfly them, but I butterfly it where 2, oh no, I can't butterfly it there. I have to put it 2 to the bottom. I have to put it to the bottom for the pocket seam, and then I butterfly the side seam to try to reduce bulk. I had to think about that for a minute. Okay, to try to reduce bulk, I butterfly the side seam, but I push over the entire bottom seam to reduce bulk because this has just 1 layer and this has 2 layers. So now this is going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And this is going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So each side of the box corner is still getting just the 6. I hope that makes sense. Okay, I'm going to pin this in place and then sew it. All right, so I did that. See, I sewed it. Oh, focus. There we go. Sewn, sewn, trim threads, and sewn. See? And on these bottoms, I went back and forth like 3 times. Boo, 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 boo. Boo, 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 boo. All right, time to turn it inside out. We can zoom it back and reach in through the bottom and open up the zipper all the way because I think I only left it part way open. And I got to get it all the way open. Where is it? Where is that zipper? Where are you? You're here somewhere. Oh, I didn't open it at all. Look at that. It's completely closed. But the nice thing about zipper tape is you can push it from the back. Now, I know you can't do that with all zippers, but with zipper tape you can. So never worry about whether you left it open or not because zipper tape you just push from the back. All right. Let's get the rest of this thing out. All right. Now, oh, I can see I already turned my pocket inside out because look, I should not be looking at that side of a pocket. So that's the wrong side. Get that back that way. There we go. Very easy fix. Stick your hand in through the lining, get everything nice and even. I could have left a bigger turning hole, made it a little easier for myself. Pop out those boxed corners. See how nice that is now? Not bad. Not perfect, but not bad. Who needs perfection? Not I, said the fly. That one's closer to perfect. But again, I do not need perfection. I had made this pocket so tall because I didn't want to lose the bear at the bottom of the pocket. I thought he was just so adorable. So that's one of the reasons why that pocket ended up so high up. Anyways, and then for these zipper ends, got to get in there and really pop them up with your finger like that. Okay. You got to push, 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 push from the inside to get those all popped up. See? See, does not look, oh, that looks so pretty. Obviously, I have to sew the bottom shut. The lining needs to be sewn shut. But let's just take a look at this cute bag. OMG, it's so cute. All right, I'm back. The thing is done. I just sewed up the zipper. I just sewed up, can you see that? There you go. The bottom of the lining, not the zipper, the lining. And I just did it with my sewing machine. I did not do the proper stitch at the bottom. It's at the bottom of a bag. No, I don't think anyone's ever looking in the bottom of the bag. And this is my bag. I'm not looking at the bottom of the bag. So it's perfect for me. All right. Super cute, right? Okay. So the Kindle, it's a tight fit because, okay, it was a 7-inch zipper. And then I took off 3/8 at each side. So that's what? 6/8, that's 3/4 of an inch. So now we're down to 6 1/4. And then this is 5 1/2, and the zipper pull itself is like 5 1/2. So I wasn't really thinking about that math when I said 7 inches is fine. It's not 7 inches because you lose space, but it like is exactly wide enough to fit the Kindle in its case. So if you're making this yourself, you can see there's enough space here. Gosh, the zoom here. You can see there's enough space that I could have actually done a 7 1/4 inch zipper instead of a 7-inch zipper. I love it. And I did make the pocket extra big because I didn't want to lose this bear at the bottom because I thought the bear was just the whole reason I chose this as this piece as the front pocket. But so cute. I can keep so many goodies in this little bag. Didn't need such a big boxed bottom for the Kindle. The Kindle's much skinnier. But I'm sure I needed a boxed bottom just for the Kindle. But I boxed it anyways because that way if I put other things in there like notebooks, see, with a skinny top, with a skinny opening, can I fit a notepad? Oh yeah, my notepad fits in there easily. So that's nice. I got my Kindle and a notepad in there. And you can't see that, but it's kind of almost standing up. Almost standing up. Hopefully I've answered all the questions people were asking about how I do the lining, how I do the quilting, how I do the boxed bottom, how I put it all together. The measurements again were 10 by 8 1/4 because that was the size of the template, the acrylic template. If you want to make something yourself, then just take what I've told you and say, hey, do I want this 10 by 8 1/4 or do I want this 10 by 9? Do I want it a little bit wider? Or do I not need it so tall? Because look how much space is at the top for a Kindle. If you really just want it to be a Kindle case, it could be shorter. So, do what you want to do. Hopefully this information has been useful to you. I really like this case. I really think this is so stinking adorable. And I'm really happy I made it. My tag's a little squee with, but you know, I wasn't making this to sell. I just felt like I needed to put my tag in there, and I think I put it too far in because it's yeah, who cares? Who cares? I made it for myself. I made it for you. I made it so you guys could watch me make it, and I made it so I had something for my Kindle that was just as adorable as humanly possible. And I love that I can put like a pad of paper in there and pencils as well. I could put more things. Put so many things. I could just put just pens and stuff. It could be just like a giant pen pouch. Oh, I love it. I'm happy. You can see let's compare puffiness. Okay, this one, remember, has a book. So this one's holding a book and it's puffy. This one's holding a Kindle. Not as puffy, but still cushioned, still protecting, which is the whole reason to use the quilt batting, is to make it, you know, just a little cushiony for what's inside. And yeah, it is. I feel like my Kindle is very protected in here, just like I feel my book is very protected in here. So the size difference. Now, if I was going to make one for my iPad, I would need to be just a tiny bit larger than this. So what I would probably do is take the template, the size large, and then I would just add a ruler to it. I think that's what I would do. So if you don't understand what I mean by add a ruler to it, so here is the template, the acrylic template. When you put it down on your fabric, you just put a ruler next to it and you line them up next to each other. So when you're making a cut, so you push this over, and so you use your ruler to push it over, turn it, you know, and then just use your ruler to help you make the best use of your template space. That's what I would do if I was making it for my iPad. I would make it just a little bit bigger than the one I made for the books, because my iPad is like exactly this size. So it's not going to fit inside if it's exactly that size. Like there's nowhere for it to go. So it needs to be like, I don't know, an inch bigger all around, maybe an inch and a half bigger all around for an iPad, for my iPad anyways. What year is mine? I think mine's like a 2023, if that helps, iPad. What else can I say? I think I've talked a lot. This video is going to be really long. Thank you for being here. Thank you for joining me on this Saturday morning. I'm going to keep sewing, but I'm not sure you get to watch me sew everything else I'm sewing today because some things are secret. I got some secret things. So I'm glad I got to do this that you could watch, and then just know that I'm working on other things. Very exciting. Have a wonderful week. It has been a really hard week. I think if you are out here in the world and you're watching this live, October 4th, 2025 is the current date. And this week has been heartbreaking. I've seen some real heartbreak in my country again. And this is just a distraction. This is just a way to fill our cup, to find joy, to take care of ourselves. I know this is not the most important thing happening, but taking care of yourself is incredibly important, because you have to take care of yourself so you can take care of others, because we need to be the helpers. Okay? Thank you for being here. Thank you for watching. Like, subscribe, all that jazz, and have a great week. And I'll see you next week.